devil said goodbye. Well, it's another beautiful day in paradise. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is the mayor of the airwaves. In the studio this morning, of course, I have Biblical Bill. Yes, it's my nephew's favorite host, Biblical Bill. my nephew, he's I think he's kind of. Are you anti-religious, James? What are you?
I have seen absolutely no good in any organized religion.
There you go. Well, you know, my grandfather, your great-grandfather, used to say, except for organized religions and politicians, mankind was generally friendly. And you know, it really is true. But see, the thing is, the difference in our belief, and then we're going to get out of this religious thing, I promise.
Please,
but the difference is that the Jesus that I know did not come to establish a religion. He came to establish relationship. It's men that make up all these stupid rules. And so you got to do this on Friday. You got to do this on Sunday. You got to wear like this and put your hair like this. And, you know, oh, my God.
It's a personal relationship between you and Jesus.
Yeah. Well, you know, he said one day they're going to come in my name, killing you, thinking that they're doing my service. So that says a lot right there. All right, let's get back to James, because I like to bring these things up. It just irritates the hell out of him, you know. So anyway.
That's exactly what I need today. Thank you.
Hey, James. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. All right. So that's good for us to know. We have each other. Now, Susan is the former America Online search forum leader. She's appeared on Oprah, Today, CBS, This Morning, The Locator, Dateline. You can log on to reunionregistry.org. She helps people find each other, among other things. Now, Susan, are you there?
I am.
Okay. You're the former America Online search forum leader. Now, you know America Online started right here in Vero Beach, Florida. Ted Leonsis is the billionaire who started. He was not a billionaire when he started it. And I've interviewed Ted. And, matter of fact, he had to pay his employees one Friday, he said, with his credit card. That's how tough times were. So chance takers make it in the world, you know, and he did it, and a lot of people with him became very successful. But what, as a former America Online search forum leader, what in the world does that mean?
Well, when PCs, personal computers, started, you know, most people nowadays just go to Google. It's automatic, or they, you know, go to Yahoo, go to Facebook, what? But prior to like 1989, very few people had personal computers in their homes. And then they came out with like the 286 and the 386, and then they came out with online. And it went from a text-based to a graphics-based platform, so that people could actually see rather than just write words. And that's about the time that the three big computer groups started, and that was America Online, CompuServe, and Prodigy. And those three were the leading platforms that people could access to get in touch with other people. And the America Online had a family area where people would go and discuss being parents, being grandparents, being adoptive parents. And one day I wandered in and said, so where's the section of the board that talks about being adopted and searching? And they go, well, we don't have one. And I went, well, why not? And they said, well, we don't need one. And I said, I beg to differ. And they said, well, you know what happens when people open their mouths, don't you? And I went, what? No. And they said, you establish it and you run it. So that's how the adoption forum on America Online got started. It was just in the right place, and that's the right weird question at the right time. But what happened was we started to build a community of people who have been touched by adoption, who had never, in most cases, been able to talk to another adopted individual, and certainly with adult adoptees who had never known their birth family. It was the first time that birth parents and adoptees were able to interact in a forum together. And we found out that we have a lot of the same issues, a lot of the same dreams, and a lot of the same goals in finding each other. And our forum grew and grew and grew, and led to my first Oprah appearance, because I was the internet group expert, and it just was a launching platform, and it just all came because of a question: where is it, and why don't we have one? But I can remember one, for instance, where we had a birth mother attend a chat and an adoptee attend a chat, and they realized that they belonged together during the chat. The adoptee put out her birth date, and the birth mother just kind of went, huh, and they realized that they were a match right there in the forum.
That's amazing. That is amazing, and you got to realize the significance of this. I mean, this was you're the start of the internet connection for us, people affected by adoption. That's very significant. Thank you.
Yeah, I was at the start, and I was there the day that the term search angel came about. Prior to that time, people who had been prior to the PC time, people who helped other people find missing family were called searchers. And we had a biological father, I will never forget. He's since passed, but his name was Gordon Kilpatrick, and he lived in Denver. He was an old police officer, and he was one of our forum moderators, as was I, and a couple of other people. And regardless of, and this talks about the white healing and the feminism thing and the PC movement, but when anybody would ever come into a chat, they would always defer to Gordon, even though he was like our token birth father. They would always put questions to him, and we were kidding around one day about it, and it's like, hey, you get all the questions, we do all the work. And somebody popped up and said, right, you're Charlie and we're your angels. So as a joke, referring back to the old Charlie Angel show. So as a joke, the next time we came to a chat, we had all established new screen names, and we had Search Angel 1, Search Angel 2, and I Spy Angel. And that's how the term Search Angel came about.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So tell us another, I like those stories of great coincidence. Tell us another story of coincidence, where, like you said, somebody's bowling in the same bowling alley and find out that it's mother and daughter or mother and son, and they've been so close together and had no idea that about that relationship.
I will tell you my own story of coincidence, okay? And as a private investigator who's a little bit vibey, these stories of coincidence are so common that you can always almost use them to gauge if you're on the right track in a search. But, I am an adult adoptee. I knew early on who my birth mother was. But I searched for my birth father until I was 36 years old, and then when I found him, he told me he had siblings that he had lost touch with, and could I please go find them? Well, I have my next in age brother had just literally disappeared. And so I went searching for him, and his name at birth was Harry Moldenhauer. And I had a copy of his birth certificate. I knew what his mother's name was. Could not find him anywhere. And then one day, a woman that I worked with on the forum called me and said, "Are you awake?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Wake up, I found your brother."
Wow.
And so when I started talking to him, I was in the process of a divorce. My name is Susan. My ex-husband's name was Terry. When I found my brother, whose name is Terry, his soon-to-be divorced ex-wife's name is Susan. Terry grew up in Sedalia, Missouri, and at one point in my life, I lived in Sedalia, Missouri, and we went to the same school.
Wow.
When I was talking to Susan, his children's mother, we were discussing, things we had in common, our kids, and what they like to do. And she talked about my niece Christy being in the Girl Scouts and how that they had, gone to camp and that Susan had taken some classes from the Red Cross. And well, wow, that's really weird.
So what? She took what from the Red Cross?
Like CPR classes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what made me say it, but I said, that's really weird. My sister-in-law, Melissa, lives in Missouri and is like the director for the Girl Scouts and does camps and stuff like that. But she doesn't go by Melissa. Everybody calls her Mo. And my Susan dropped the phone and started screaming. And then she picked up the phone and she said, "Oh my God, Melissa was Christy's camp counselor last year, and I just took a Red Cross class from her." So my sister-in-law, my very own sister-in-law, knew my biological family prior to me finding in me. Hello?
Wow. That's great. It's amazing the synchronicity that exists. Isn't it?
It is. We had we had a sibling looking for a sibling one time, and when we finally found out who the sibling was and put them together, they were both rocket scientists working on this secret government project. There were 9 people involved with it. One was on the East Coast and one was on the West Coast, and they were both on the same team.
Oh, my goodness.
And we have
That's
teachers who find their birth mother who's also a teacher. Occupations seem to run in families. Teachers, doctors, nursing is big. No explanation for it, but we always tell people who are searching, look in areas that, one, you either lived in, went to college in, or that you've gone to and feel particularly at home in. You go to a town and all of a sudden it feels like you've been there before, or it feels like you're coming home even though you've never been there. Always pay attention to those feelings.
Yeah, the connections are uncanny. Uncle Rhett was talking about the connections biologically and the importance of it. And he didn't mention the fact that my natural father, was a musician. And upon hearing the one record he created, but he tried to market, it was all electronic music. And I make electronic music, so it's uncanny how we both played piano, we both played flute. I mean, and you can appreciate the love of a non-DNA relative very much, and just as much as a natural relative, but you just cannot dismiss the connection of DNA. It's impressive.
Yeah. Well, my birth father and my family actually had a reunion, we had a jam session rather than a formal reunion. Everybody in my family, in my biological father's family, was musical. nobody in my family that raised me, even though they were I was in family adoption, they didn't get the musical gene.
Yeah.
So it's like clicking home. It's like that missing puzzle piece clicking home, and everything fits. And I think when people ask us, why did you go in search? We're not in search of a new mom and dad. We love our moms and dads. We're not in search of a new family. We're in search of a piece of ourselves. It just doesn't quite make sense.
Roots.
Roots. Very well said. I agree. That's awesome, and it is. And they are your family, you know. But I get it. It's your tribe, both.
Well, James's family, who adopted him, is so nice that now I want them to adopt me.
Yeah. I got lucky in every regard, except for finding a grave, and it's nothing's perfect. But the people I did find and have relationships with, both adopted and natural, are just amazing.
Yeah, there's going to be some gunkies in every family. You know
what? It doesn't matter whether you're adopted or not. You're going to have gunkies in every family.
Precisely. And everyone has issues, right?
Everyone.
My name is Beverly.
I mean, if you can find any family on this earth without some level of dysfunction,
good luck.
Yeah.
Beverly is a mother of 3, and she has something to say. Yes, Beverly?
I'm just amazed at this DNA, how it has expanded people's lives. James, look at you. You have an uncle who has a radio show, and you're able to be on the show to tell your story. I mean, it's just amazing. That's just one story. And Susan, you have many. And it must be so rewarding to help people find out about their past.
Thank you. It is. The people that I've helped become my family.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Once you have reached out and touched someone in such a way to make them whole, it forms a bond that just really doesn't break.
Well, I had a friend in upstate New York, and his whole family owned Garrity Lumber. Very wealthy family, and my friend was the younger one when he was 37, and he was sort of the Donald Trump. This is back about 30 years ago. The Donald Trump of Albany, New York. Well, they were a very elegant family. I went to one of the weddings up in Maine, 2 fancy schmancy mansions side by side on the craggy beaches. And you went there and you got a pass, and you could go down to the clubhouse and eat anything you wanted. Tennis courts, the whole thing. And what do you call those things when you have the lobster? Oh, clam bakes and all that stuff.
Oh,
anyway,
yes. Mm-hmm.
So for years, his mom hated Jews. I don't know why some people hate, but they're Jews. She hated Jews. So she finds out a couple of years before she dies of cancer, she's 50% Jewish.
That's great.
And, it's just like in here we had Joseph from Joseph's Cookies. Well, he just did a thing, and he found out that he's not only Italian, but he has black heritage. Black heritage. Mm-hmm. But he had no problem with that. They're not prejudiced against black people or anything, so it's cool. But it's like, my friend Lauren Chapin. Now, were you in the car with me the other day? Who was it with? Didn't I introduce you to Lauren Chapin? Yeah.
Yes.
Lauren Chapin was the star of Father Knows Best.
Right.
She was the little girl with pigtails. Mm-hmm. And so Lauren and I are friends. So she was on the phone the other day, and I happened to be, a few months ago, heading down to Portland, Oregon from Seattle to visit my niece, who was my brother's daughter and a half-sister of James. And she happens to call me. She said, Rhett, I've always thought, she's in Hollywood, calling me from Hollywood, California. She says, Rhett, she says, I always thought that I was Irish. She says, guess what? I said, what? She says, I'm Jewish, 100% Jewish. I mean, it's amazing what you find out, And
Yeah.
so now, so far they've done a study on me, and they don't know what to do about it because they think that I'm part alien from Mars. No. Anyway, we got to take a break, and then we're going to come back. Again, what's your website, Sue?
SearchQuestAmerica.com
Okay.
and ReunionRegistry.org.
All right, now listen,
Or
folks.
you can find us on Facebook at Search Quest America.